Okay, so if you would like to close your eyes, I'm going to read this lovely little benediction from Love Without Conditions. There is only one Son of God, and you are He. From Him you receive, to Him you give. When you look at yourself, may you remember. When you look at your brother, may you also remember. When you look away in fear, remember only this. Subject and object, lover and beloved, are not two, but one and the same. What you give and what you receive are reflections of each other. Just resting with your eyes closed a moment, really feeling that teaching there that we always have to remember, come back to. We are one. Not two or five or seven or thousands. We are one. So I just invite you to use those words just for a minute or two. Let them flow within you, move in your heart, expand the love within. We are one. For me, there's a feeling of, oh, yes, we are one. So gently coming back and opening your eyes when you're ready. And there's Frida appeared while we were doing that. So welcome, Frida. Lovely. Good. Okay. So we're just continuing with giving up self-judgment this week. Well, I realised, last week I realised I needed 2 weeks. Well, this week I realised I needed 3. So we're going to do another one in this series. Actually, you could do this forever because it's the foundation of everything. If we experience ourselves as guilty, we project that guilt out into the world, and it continues to be a place of suffering. But if we can forgive ourselves, we could completely forgive ourselves and completely give up judgment, everything would transform, wouldn't it? Because the total forgiveness of ourselves, the complete absence of judgment in ourselves, would expand, extend, and encompass everything. So it's a really big subject, but I'm not definitely going to do more than 3 for the time being. We will always return to it. This week, as you know, we're going to focus more on the characteristics or the qualities that were given in the manual for teachers. And they're really wonderful characteristics. And I asked you to choose one. Those of you who weren't here last week, you've probably seen the video, so you know what we're doing. It doesn't matter dreadfully if you don't, but at some point, I think it's really helpful to look through these characteristics and just feel which one speaks to you most. And that will be the one, the Holy Spirit will be saying, hello, that's the one you need right now. Work on that one. We do want all of them, but it's quite hard to do all of them at once. So that's our focus for today. Hang on, we're just going to let Jan in. And I'm going to read to you first. Sorry, the light's a bit bright when I read. From forgiveness towards the end of the book in the Song of Prayer. I'm not suggesting you follow it because when I read things, I tend to have gone through carefully and selected some bits. So if you try to follow it, it can be a bit tricky because you don't know where I am. So is forgiveness always given you? It is impossible to forgive another, for it is only your sins you see in him. You want to see them there and not in you. That is why forgiveness of another is an illusion. Yet it is the only happy dream in the world. Who but the sinful need to be forgiven? and do not think you can ever see sin in anyone except yourself. So what we're really looking at here is the understanding that the core, the heart of everything is the forgiveness of ourselves, as I was saying, and the relinquishment of judgment. The big thing here that I really want to emphasize more than anything is how totally transformative it is to actually get to the point where we realize the power of giving up judgment. In the teachings of the Course, the world is a projection. We project it out from our minds, so we're perceiving what we've projected. The projection depends hugely on how much judgment we're into. If we are spending lots of our lives judging and complaining and criticizing, there is no alternative but that we will see a world of darkness and pain and misery, as the Course describes, particularly in the workbook. We are constantly being reminded of, how cruel and heartless the world is. But that's where we begin. Then, if we take in everything that we're being taught about forgiving, about not judging, then I'm sure that many of you have experienced it. A lot of you have been doing this for a long time. Gradually, the world changes. And it isn't because we change the world. We talked before about how important it is to understand the world's a mirror. And you're not going to change the world by drawing on the mirror. The world only changes when we shift within ourselves, that we move into acceptance and love and kindness and forgiveness and gentleness and all of these qualities we've got here. As we relinquish judgment, as we use forgiveness all the time, as our awareness, our consciousness grows, and we can really stand above and see what we're doing, the world shifts. It becomes more beautiful, and it becomes what the Course calls the real world. I mean, eventually that will go too, but it's like a sort of holding place, I think, where eventually all we experience in the world is beauty and goodness and love. Yeah, do you see what I mean? And I always emphasize this because I think it's so important that we have a motivation. We can really see, why do I have to spend all this time on forgiveness? Why am I always having to try not to judge myself or people? Because it will transform what you experience in the world. It's not a direct thing. I've said this, it's not you thinking about a cup, so you see a cup, although you might. It's the nature of our thinking that's important. So when we think with neutrality, when we stand in a neutral place, when we don't judge things or moan or complain or look for what's wrong with the world or blame people, all those things that we do that we can forget are part of judgment, all those things are constantly going out into the world and producing an experience of the world that is painful. So if we were to give up forgiveness, give up judgment, and be constantly ready with forgiveness if we made a mistake and we accidentally judged something, there's no question of it. All that we would experience is the real world, a forgiven world, a beautiful world. So I just wanted to emphasize that if we can really get it, how powerful this is, how extraordinarily important it is, we might feel a greater sense of motivation to catch ourselves. Right? Because what I notice is how easy it is for people to say, well, I'm right. Look what they're doing out there in Gaza. Look at the murders and the robberies and the unkindness and all that. It is wrong. It is bad. It is cruel. But if you can actually pull back from anything that judges, because it comes from our own guilt, and simply describe it, that was a marvelous next step. So you can say that, people are killing people. This is true. It's only when that's neutral, isn't it? It's an observation. Eventually you won't see any of that. There won't be that stuff in your world. But if we can really observe ourselves, really become aware of our tendency to find things wrong with the world, to use lots of what I call, or they are adjectives, you know, when you've got loads of adjectives in what you're saying, it's likely to be very judgmental and critical. These things that we might be tempted to judge, what if they just are? What if the idea is that we just allow things to be as they are? What if we come towards, receive everything or engage with everything from a place of peace and non-judgment? Everything would be transformed. So that's just a little introduction to, so that we're all really in this feeling, hopefully, that can grow inside of us. You know, I'm really, really, really going to observe myself. I'm going to notice my desire. There's a pull. It's like addiction. You know, there's a pull to judge. So the more we can see it, the quicker we catch it and forgive if we did judge. It's like we're done, really. We'd almost never need to study anything else. So the focus of the characteristics of God's teachers comes about because if we can strengthen our sense of who we really are, if we can feel the power of these qualities within us, it helps us to be strong enough to resist the pull to judge. Are you with me? You know, it's like it's working with the what we need in order to be strong enough to give up judgment. Because does everybody recognize the pull the ego has? It wants us to judge, doesn't it? It's not some easy thing. You're not saying, oh, that's a doddle, we'll soon do that. You know, we can spend all our lives trying to do it, constantly working with the Course. So we do need courage and determination and dedication. But more than anything else, we need awareness and the willingness to say, I was judging there. I'm not doing that. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to take a deep breath, forgive, let go. Let it go, let it, and move on. But that is one of the hardest things we will ever do. If you could imagine, you know, being addicted to something, you know, some of you may have been addicted to things, or you know somebody who is, you will have seen that in addiction, the pull for the addictive substance is overwhelming. It's huge. It's really, really hard to get to transcend addiction. And that's what it's like with the ego's pull to judge. It really, really wants to do it. It really, really, really wants to be right. He doesn't care about being happy. You know, it just wants to be right. And then it creates the feeling of separation in us, of loneliness. So there we are, being right and miserable. So there's no point to it. So if I go too much down that path, I wanted us to work a little bit on these qualities because they help us to be strong enough to actually make that decision, to really stand back in a really strong place and say, no, that's it, no more. If I make a mistake and I judge, I'm going to catch it, forgive myself, done. Okay, so I'm going to read through all the different characteristics, and what would be really great is to start with, if you'd like to just put your hand up on when I say the one you've got, and we'll just get the feel of, in this group, what is it that people most feel they want to develop? You know, which quality has, or characteristic has most spoken to you? So if we start from the beginning here, the first one is trust. Who's got trust? Yeah, 2, 3, 4 people on trust. Okay. So I think what I'll do is, because this is good for everybody, I'm just going to read a little bit from each one. So the people who've got trust will have read this, but this little piece I picked out. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a forgiven world. So that's lovely, isn't it? That feeling of just putting your trust out there. We're not trusting in in bodies. That would be foolish, wouldn't it? Bodies are completely untrustworthy. It's just the nature of bodies. And we can't trust our own body, let alone anybody else's. So it's nothing to do with that. It's that deep underlying trust in God, in that there is this real world underneath. It talks about trusting the world. Again, it doesn't mean the ego world, the illusion. It means that deep trust that somehow or another, even if we don't understand it, everything is unfolding as it should. Everything is somehow perfect. And there is that true, beautiful, forgiven world there that we can experience. So I think it's about really trusting that. And it's also trusting what I've just read here, of the power within us. And it's really, really good if you can just feel that. Just maybe everybody, close your eyes a minute. Yeah, I'm just going to say that again. If I don't get through all of these today, we'll carry on next week. So it is governed by a power that is in them, so in you, but not of you. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God, that's us, look on a forgiven world. So just take some breaths. Can you feel that power? It has nothing to do with your body, is it? Nothing to do with the ego, but it's there. It's of God. It's the knowing that we are the one Son of God. We are one. We're together. That's it. And if we join in knowing this power, so we start in trust. We start with this power to forgive, this power to give up judgment. Just really feel that now. Feel, if you can, the sense of dedication. I can do this. I can do this with the Holy Spirit by my side or holding Jesus' hand, by remembering all my brothers. I can do it. I have the power. I have the power. Just open your eyes again when you're ready. So you lovely ones who particularly had trust, I hope you're especially feeling that wondrous power to really deeply enter into the trust. Beautiful. Right, then we have honesty. So who chose honesty, or who did honesty choose? Tessa and Kirsty, did you put your hand up? No. No, that was my hand waving about. Angela. Yes. Okay, so honesty. It first starts with that all the other traits of God's teachers rest on trust. So we know if we develop the trust, we're on our way. Let's see what the title is to read here. Oh yes, this bit. Sorry. There is nothing that you say, if you live this quality of honesty, that contradicts what you think or do. No thought opposes any other thought. No act belies your worth, and no word lacks agreement with another. Such are the truly honest. At no level are they in conflict with themselves. Therefore, it is impossible for them to be in conflict with anyone or anything. So that's a very clear description, isn't it, for us? Yeah. No contradictions within us. And for me also, it's about what I call congruence between inner and outer. It's like who I am inside is who you see. And it's a very important one, I think, given the world today, which has a huge emphasis on what we look like and our image and what we present, and all the social media things. There's this big focus on presentation and coming across as we think is going to be impressive or something. So here, this is very much the opposite, isn't it? It's not supposed to be impressive. You're just looking for this deep truth with yourself, this total unity of everything that we think and everything we do and everything we say. And then you get the word transparency, don't you? So again, just close your eyes. And I have the sense, although, you know, our body's an illusion, but I have the sense that if we're working with these things, if there's something in your heart, it's the feeling is in your heart, the sense of it, the strength of it. So can you feel the honesty in your heart? Can you feel perhaps, even if you're not sure you're always that honest? And it's not about what you say in general out in the world. It's the unity within ourselves, the truth. So feel that in your heart, the willingness to be honest, the willingness to bring together thought and deed and word, everything of you, of us, is transparent and truthful, and therefore it is good and it's peaceful. I am honest. Feel that honesty, just the energy of it, the essence of it, spread through your being. And also then a gift out into the world. I choose honesty. Breathe deeply into it. And then gently coming back. And the next one is tolerance. Actually, before I go into that one, I just want to say one thing. I keep reading bits that talk about teacher of God. And last week I did say that all of us are always teaching. I don't think I used the words then, teacher of God. So you may be thinking, well, I don't know if I'm a teacher of God. But if you're doing this, you're here, you're doing the course, you're taking your spiritual journey seriously, there's we can't avoid it really. We can't actually jump off the train. We just are. So and there's that lovely bit in the course you will have seen or heard of where it says, teach only love, for that is what you are. And it's the understanding that whatever we do, whether we're silent or whether we stay in bed all day, or whatever we do with our lives doesn't make any difference. Everything about our being teaches, doesn't it? You know, we're demonstrating with the way we speak, the tone of our voice, how we use our bodies, you know, whether we keep our word, whether we're all of these things. We are teaching it all the time. So we're bringing the lesson of how to be to the world. So it makes us think, wow, better bring a pretty good me to the world if I can. So, teacher of God. Now, tolerance. Who had tolerance? Anybody have tolerance? Yes, Dana. Okay, lovely. So for you and for everybody, tolerance. And the first sentence is, God's teachers do not judge. I'm reinforcing it a bit. Not they try not to notice. Not that they don't judge on Thursdays, or they don't judge when they're having a good time. Lovely, black and white. I love the course. It hasn't got any grey areas. God's teachers do not judge. Okay, good. That's us done. we can go home now. Oh, we are home. And then, without judgment are all things equally acceptable. For who could judge otherwise? Without judgment are all men brothers. For who is there that stands apart? Judgment destroys honesty and shatters trust. No teacher of God can judge and hope to learn. So again, some very strong words. If you close your eyes, just for a moment, just reflect. Reflect on tolerance. So these particular words here, I don't want to read again. Without judgment are all men brothers. For what is there who stand? For who is there who stands apart? Judgment destroys honesty and shatters trust. No teacher of God can judge and hope to learn. Just let's feel again into your heart. Think of the word tolerance. There's a lesson later in the workbook. Let all things be exactly as they are. I always think that's the most wonderful teaching, that we're not asked to fix anything or control anything or change anything or make anything better or worse. Not asked to assess it in any way. It's about standing back. I'm always talking about that, aren't I? Standing back, coming out of the center of the drama, coming to the edge. Just being an observer. Non-duality. Nothing is right. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is good. Nothing is bad. Tolerance. The essence of neutrality, quietude, of allowing. And then we remember that there is one who knows. And when we come to that still place of allowing things to be as they are, and we're quiet in our minds, then we can hear. We can hear guidance, not hear with the body's ears, but hear in our being, or feel ourselves being shown or guided into that silent mind that simply tolerates, that trusts, that is honest, tolerant. Feel yourself now just choosing tolerance, choosing to live that, especially the ones who chose that, for everybody, tolerant. And we just go to the next quality. And feel free to keep your eyes closed all the time if you want to, whatever works best for you. But I'm just going to bring us to the next one. This is the one that always speaks to me, gentleness. I think that I feel that over the years, because I've always loved this, I've developed a gentleness that I didn't have before. So I can really attest to the value of really focusing on these qualities. So harm is impossible for God's teachers. They can neither harm nor be harmed. It is the dishonest act that follows a dishonest thought. It is the verdict of guilt, then, upon a brother, and therefore on oneself. It is the end of peace. Therefore God's teachers are wholly gentle. They need the strength of gentleness. Who would choose the all-encompassing, hang on a minute, skip the line. Who would choose the weakness that must come from harm in place of the unfailing, all-encompassing, and limitless strength of gentleness? The might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness. Isn't that wonderful? The might of God's teachers lies in their gentleness. I forgot to ask at the beginning who had gentleness, who chose gentleness. Yeah, so Isabel, Pony, Janie. Yeah, lovely. And again, it's the most wonderful quality. You know, when we stop and look at them just a few minutes like this, we can see, can't we, how powerful they all are. You know, and it seems like a kind of contradiction, doesn't it? The power of gentleness. And yet it's a lot of teaching from the East, things like the I Ching and so on. It's and Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. Always teaching, you know, the gentleness, the quietness, the softness of people or of our ways will always win over all that brashness and aggression and grievances and so on. So just close your eyes again a minute. If you have opened them again, just reflect on gentleness. Can you get it, that it's strong? It has a a patience in it, and we'll come to patience in a minute. It has a serenity, has a deep stillness, and within it there is an absence of wanting. And it's the wanting that so often is destructive for our peace of mind. It's quietude and gentleness. There's a capacity to see deeply. There's an allowing, gentleness. Again, feel that word in your heart, gentleness. You might say to yourself, I am gentle. How does it feel if you say, I am gentle? Or I live the quality of gentleness? Does it feel right? Is it something that you want to develop? Or is it something you already feel as part of your being? Say the word a few times as you breathe. Gentle. How beautiful it is. And as that gentleness fills your being so it spreads out, it links us all, links all the people of the world, embracing, holding, kind, gentle. And just open your eyes again if you'd like to for the next one, or keep them closed if you prefer. So the next one is joy. Who chose joy as their quality, a characteristic? Eileen and anyone else? No, just Eileen. You've got it all for you. You don't mind sharing it, though, do you? Okay, lovely. So, joy is the inevitable result of gentleness. Gentleness means that fear is now impossible. And what could come to interfere with joy? The open hands of gentleness are always filled. The gentle have no pain. They cannot suffer. Why would they not be joyous? They are sure they are beloved and must be safe. Joy goes with gentleness as surely as grief attends attack. It's nicely put, isn't it? So, joy. It's funny, it's not like happiness, is it, joy? Can you feel it as it's like something that just fills our being? Well, all of these can fill us, can't they? But this feeling for me is that joy is solid, it's unchanging, it's always available, and it's always there in the deepest place. Sometimes when we think of happiness, we think of things causing our happiness, or these things make me happy, or these things make me unhappy. We can use happiness in that way, but joy is different. Joy doesn't have individual causes out there. Joy is spiritual purity, it's essence, it's who we are. And there's three qualities we're told in the course that are of our essence: joy, peace, and love. And that you can't have one without the rest. Not that you're not allowed. It's that's what happens. If you truly have joy, you will have peace, and you will have love, or be love. If you have love, you will be joy and you'll be peace. If you have peace, you'll have joy and love. I think I said them all. But do you see what I mean? It's like these are not things that have a cause out in the world or something that make us joyful, they might bring extra feeling of joy into our lives. But if it's brought by something that happens out there, then it will drift away again. What we're looking at here is the joy that is who we really are. And what we're doing with the course in the work of letting go of the blocks to our awareness of love's presence is we're revealing what's always there. So when we let go of our blocks and our limitations, when we stop judging, when we forgive, we just clear all that stuff away, then the joy rises, because it never was anywhere else. It was never outside. It's always within us. So it's another really good reason, isn't it, for doing this work of clearing away the judgment, because the more we do that, the more the joy can rise up in us and fill our being. So just close your eyes again if you'd like to. And see if you can just get in touch now with your joy. You're just remembering that it's not caused by anything outside. It is there. It is there inside us. It never went anywhere. So you might feel it's in your heart. You might have a sense of sort of bubbling under. That whatever's going on in our lives, it doesn't make any difference. We have to deal with all kinds of stuff that can be difficult, but deep in there all the time is still the joy. So I want you to feel like you're just making your way through all the things that block you from experiencing your joy. Maybe really breathe deeply with this one. So drop yourself down into your being. Drop down into the joy. It's there. It's shimmering and light. Butterfly wings. It's just that little tremor and light and love and peace in there too with it. Joy. I am filled with joy. Touch the joy within me and give it out into the world. I am joy. Breathe into it. I am joy. Just let it bring, although your eyes are closed, let it bring that little sparkle to your eyes. Let it bring a smile to your lips. I'm joy. Oh, I forgot. That's who I am. That is my essence. I am joy. Stay there just a little bit longer. I think we'll do one more for now, or maybe two. We'll see how we do. The next one, and again, keep your eyes closed, open them as you whatever you wish. The next one is defenselessness. I think this is a really interesting one because in the more ego type world, we always think we're going to have to defend ourselves from something or other, and see the world often as very dangerous, and we need to mount a defense. But in spiritual teachings, we are dropping all our defenses. And you may remember the lesson, in my defenselessness, my safety lies. So this says, God's teachers have learned how to be simple. They have no dreams that need defense against the truth. They do not try to make themselves. Their joy comes from their understanding who created them. And does what God created need defense? It is not danger that comes from It is not danger that comes when defenses are laid down. It is safety. It is peace. It is joy. And it is God. Who had defenselessness? Viviana and Annie, right, defenselessness. Wonderful quality. So I'm going to read that bit again. If you just close your eyes one more time. I found this sentence, or these few sentences, so deeply moving. I'm just going to read them slowly and ask you to really feel it with me. It is not danger that comes when defences are laid down. It is safety. It is peace. It is joy. And it is God. It is safety. It is peace. It is joy. And it is God. Again, resting there, trying to just feeling into what it really means to not be defending, to be simple, to have no image or presentation. Kind of nakedness goes very well with honesty, doesn't it? In fact, all of these weave together. All the simplicity, the safety. If we defend ourselves, we're always frightened that we're going to get found out. When we're defending, it's usually against something we didn't want to tell or say or do. Keep our defences up. Like you move a step on with being willing to let go defences. Just breathe and let them drop. Whatever we have done or been or regret, it's all perfectly forgivable. Just made some mistakes. No need to hide. Can be true. Defenselessness. Strength of God within us. Don't need anything else. Just feel that for a little bit longer. I'll just go on to one more, I think. There's not many left, but I don't want to try and squish it all in. So we'll just go on to the number 7. Again, open your eyes or not, as you wish. And number 7 is generosity. Who had generosity as their characteristic? Terry. Okay, so you've got that one to yourself as well. Kind of big amounts of generosity. It is for everybody. Okay, so let me read a little bit here. Right. The term generosity has special meaning to the teacher of God. It is not the usual meaning of the word. In fact, it is a meaning that must be learned, and learned very carefully. Like all the other attributes of God's teachers, this one rests ultimately on trust. For without trust, no one could be generous in the true sense. To the world, generosity means giving away, in the sense of giving up. To the teachers of God, generosity means giving away in order to keep. And then here I've got, he does not seek what only he could keep, because that is a guarantee of loss. He does not want to suffer. Why should he ensure himself pain? But he does not want to keep for himself all the things that are of God, and therefore for his Son. These are the things that belong to him. These he can give away in true generosity, protecting them forever for himself. So there's a lot of teaching, isn't there, in the course? Several lessons returning to this, about giving and receiving being the same. And it's, it's such a lovely thing to learn, isn't it? That anything of real value will increase if we give it away. So you could easily look at things in your life. Well, if I give away this lamp, then that person's got the lamp and I haven't. So it's pretty straightforward, isn't it? That nothing's increased there in my life. Yet, if I give these qualities, if I give love and peace and gentleness and kindness and joy and sweetness and listening and serenity and all those wonderful qualities that I always bring us back to, well, what happens? Yeah, what happens if I give those qualities? What happens to me? Does anybody want to answer that one? What happens to me and in me if I give love, say? See somebody wave there? Yeah, Sarah did. Yeah, Sarah with an eye, I could see.
Peace.
So we just have, oh, Norman, we say, I think that I had Sarah. Should we just have Sarah, as I called your name, and let's not pop about? And then I think somebody else, I think Norman might like to say something. Yeah, go on, Sarah. Oh, you've gone on to mute again. If I ask you to unmute, sometimes that works better. Oh, no, you've moved and lost your picture. I love technology. No, you're still muted.
Sorry, I always lose the mute button.
Yes, I remember now. Go on.
Right, can I remember the answer now?
You can remember the question.
Yes. If I was to say all those things like you said, then I would feel them. So I would be gaining as well.
Yes, absolutely. And you get to keep them. And the imagery for me is of it pouring through you. You know, I always think of it as imagery helps, doesn't it? None of this is exactly real, but it helps us to be able to see pictures. So if we think of the crown chakra and light coming down, what if that light, that divine light, is filled with all these fabulous qualities? And all we've got to do is to clear the channel. It's a bit like arteries, isn't it? They're full of plaque and rubbish. The blood can't get through properly. So all our judgment and unforgiveness and grievances and all that stuff is stopping all these beautiful things from expressing through us. But it's all available. And if I manage to let it come through, and connect with it and give my love, give my joy, give my peace, give my all of these wondrous things, then I'm going to benefit so greatly, aren't I? I'm going to be totally blissed out. So, if you think about it, what a wonderful thing to dedicate ourselves, to giving qualities every day, every opportunity. What can I give here? Yeah, and just feel you're not giving it from your ego body, are you? You're giving it from what you're receiving. And I think in a way it works best. No, I think not that it works best. I think this is how it is. You activate the whole process by giving, not sitting there waiting. Well, okay, come on then, give me some love. You're not waiting for it to come through. If you start giving real love, deep, pure, unconditional love, you make a space. You set the whole thing moving. So there it's going out from you. And it's like, oh, more's got to come in. Do you see what I mean? So the more you give, the more you get. So the bigger the space gets, the more you clear away all the gunk and the rubbish. And all this wonderful stuff just keeps going through and going to everybody. I mean, shall we all do that? Should we do that in the world? And just feel, okay, I'm going to give everything to everybody. And there's somewhere in the course, there's a bit about that, isn't there? To have all, give all to all. Where's that? Somewhere or other in the text. But how gorgeous! And maybe that's what we need to do to finish. Got 7 minutes. Oh, I wanted you to listen to the song. I think we'll do that, and then. Oh, could you know what? We've only got 3 left. No, we'll do the 3 next time. Which, let me just tell you quickly, in case I forget at the end. Next time is not next week, because next week is the Healing Childhood Trauma group, and I want to move it into a closed group. so that people can feel really free to tell or talk about whatever they want to. You don't have to, but I want that freedom. So I want to know in the week coming who wants to be in that group and kind of stick with it. Okay, so that's next week. And then, so we'll return to this the week after. Okay, and I will remind you anyway. But I'm going to get you to listen to this wondrous song. I think we might go 5 minutes over if you can possibly be all right with that. We tend to try and do a little bit too much. And some of you will have heard this before. This is called When All Is Forgiven. And when I first heard this, I just thought, oh, it's a lovely song. But then I suddenly realized that what it's describing is the forgiven world. This is the world we will experience when we've really finally got it. We've given up judgment, forgiven everything, and then we're in this blissful place. This is the world, okay? So sunlight on the valley, stars across your heart, beauty all around you, beauty deep within, sign of awakening when all is forgiven. Music in the silence, sweetness in the heart. These shall come together, not once we're drawn apart. Beauty all around us, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is forgiven. Footsteps on the journey, oceans in the sun, sunlight on the valley, stars across your heart. Beauty all around you, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is forgiven. So lovely. It's a little bit extra inspiration to get stuck into the forgiveness. So I'm going to play that for you now. I won't play the long version, but enough just to really sort of awaken it in your heart. Okay. So all you've got to do is check the volume. See, I don't know what your volume is going to be like.
Have you started it, Leah? Because we can't hear anything.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I have. We're all sitting here. Hang on a minute. I don't know what happened there. Well, I'm just going to go back to the screen share and see if something strange happened there. Can you hear it now? Yeah, it's sort of unshared itself. So I'll take it back to the beginning.
sign of awakening when all is music in the silence, sweetness in the heart. They shall come together that once were drawn apart. Beauty all around us, beauty deep within, the sign of awakening when all is
Just stay with your eyes closed, please. Spending a minute or so more on that quality of generosity, giving and receiving. Be aware of all those beautiful qualities within us and many, many more besides. Feel them flowing through us. And as we give them, so they blossom and grow, we make space for more. You might visualize it as a flow of light, a column of light coming down through the crown, through the heart, giving it out into the world. And really it's a circle. As it goes out, gathers strength and comes back endlessly. Teach only love, for that is what you are. Perhaps everything is contained in the love. Love for ourselves, for each other, for all life. The one Son of God. We are one. So gently coming back as we've just a bit gone over our time. Thank you, everybody. It's been wonderful to be with you. Do take your mute off if you want to say goodbye.
Sarah's had a smile on her
Thank
face.
you.
though.
Thank you.
Thank
And I
you,
want
Leah.
I need to just quickly say, Norman, I'm sorry I didn't come back to you.
Thank you.
Remember you next time.
Thanks,
So, yes, I
Leah.
love you, everyone.
Everybody.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you. Bye
Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
everyone.
Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.